Welcome, guys. Welcome back to Working Out, Real Talk for Modern Men. I'm Anthony Ball, and today we are joined by Jan Williem. Now, Jan Williem is a relationship coach, men's work facilitator based in between Australia and Bali. He works with emotionally intelligent women who want healthy, committed love with men who want to embody grounded, steady masculinity. Through his programs, retreats, and writing, he focuses on nervous system awareness, polarity, ownership, and building relationships that are both safe and alive. He is the creator of the Magnetized program and runs men's embodiment experiences centered around responsibility, discipline, and emotional depth. Welcome, Jan Williem.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Good to be here.
Now, the first thing I would like to get into and just celebrate is obviously you've just become a father. And I would love to hear, well, first how it's going in these early weeks, and also any insight, word of wisdom you had for men who are also expecting.
Well, the biggest and best advice that I got, and that I realized, because there's so much out there when it comes to becoming a parent and a father in the first few weeks. And I've done a lot of research, but really what it all boiled down to is that the baby comes with its own manual. And so when I got the baby on my hands, I knew what to do, I knew what to say, I knew how to act, I knew how to be. Like before that, I didn't know how to hold baby, and suddenly I know how to hold baby. I never wanted to change the diaper. Suddenly it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I know how to be with the mom, like know what she needs. Same for the baby. And it just feels like some code in my system got unlocked and I'm just listening to that code. So that's the best advice I got. How it's going wonderfully. And I think a lot of that has to do with the nervous system work that I do. When I trust that the baby's healthy, the mom is good, and no matter what happens, everything's going to work out. Like the baby feels that because it's co-regulating with my nervous system. So when I am in a complete Zen state without having to force the Zen state, the baby's like, okay, I don't even have to cry. I don't even have to ask what I want. Everything is going to be fine because I truly and willfully embody that sensation.
Nice. Yeah. I also I find when I'm not regulated, how much it impacts my wife and also my children.
Yeah.
Like it's such a huge impact.
Yeah. And I've noticed like when I wasn't yet a father, I noticed that if I was stressed, my wife was stressed. And it's just a thing. And so even, if she got stressed in the car and I stayed totally relaxed, like her stress would go away instantly. We wouldn't have enough to say or do a thing. But when I get stressed from it, she gets more stressed because she doesn't feel that like grounded safety that women tend to look for in a man.
Yeah. I even notice sometimes with my partner, when she's like experiencing a stressful situation, she's coming to me with it and she's looking to how I respond. And like you say, if I am grounded, you can see her soften. And it's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, I know, and I've done this wrong so many times. Like one of the things that I've even recently did wrong is like something was not going well with her on an emotional or physical level. I don't really remember. And she came to me and I was really worried about it. But because I was worried, she got started, but it was an honest worry. And the moment I was like, everything was going to be all right, she was like, oh, you know what? Actually, I'm going to go to sleep. And we totally forgot about it. But it's so fascinating because I genuinely, truly care about her. And then if I'm not worried, it just feels like I don't care enough. But actually, I should stay within the belief that it's all going to be fine. So it's just such a weird, contradictory thing. And I think as men, we got to learn that positioning.
Yeah, right. We have to, because it's interesting because there's certain men that, for example, don't show any emotion. They're just like a wall and they don't show anything. And then the woman's like, where are you? Shaking you. Like, I want to know what is going on. And then if you're too open or too vulnerable, they're like, they get, and then like, let's say you share too much of the worry or the concerns and the stress that's going on. And they're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? You know? So it is this balancing act.
Yeah. I had this funny moment. This is like a couple months ago. The irony of it. So I work with a lot of women and I help with their nervous system. So I have an extreme amount of capacity to hold space and check on the nervous system on a subconscious level and then work them through it. Now, the trap is oftentimes in relationship is use those same skills and techniques, but also I rely on them in my work. So a couple months ago, my woman was really stressed out. And my first intuition was like, oh, I'm going to help her by fixing her, which is a way that the man loves. It doesn't really work. But I was like, okay, can I help you by using some of the tools that I work with? And she said yes. So I was really stoked. I'm going there, I help her through this. And for an hour, nothing works. And so I get frustrated. I'm just kind of like, oh, I'll let it go. And the moment I let it go, I just said like, oh, I'll give you a hug and a kiss. And in the hug and a kiss, in this 10 seconds, we completely solved the issue and anxiety that she's working with. And it's like, oh man, like no matter how much work I do or whatever, like I'm still human. I'm still a man that screws up and makes mistakes and just tries and do the right thing, but does it wrong. And it's just beautiful to have that compassion for myself as well. Like I don't have to be perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. We talk about, I spoke about fixing on my last episode about how men really love to fix. And it's such a common thing that men do. So we just want to fix everything. Unconsciously, we want to fix things. Yeah. Like, woman comes with a problem.
And it's great.
Let's do it.
But I mean, I just had a coaching session. So I coach 70% women, 30% men. And I'm coaching this man, and he's like, look, I have these decisions to make. What decisions do I make? And it's like A, B, D, E. It's like, thank you. And he literally just makes those decisions. I literally fix the problem for him. And I tell him how to make this decision for himself. So I even come up with a solution for future problems. And it's like, great, see you later. This was the best fucking time of a month. And he goes, no, I cannot do that with women. I sometimes get on a call with women. I had this one week, and I go on a call, and I just know instinctively she just wants to share. So I'm listening for 15 to 20 minutes, and all I do is like breathe and be present.
Yes.
And then after 15, 20 minutes of sharing, she's like, oh my God, I feel so much better now. I'm like, yeah, all good. Anything you need? No.
Yes. And that's it seems like a great skill that you have, that you've probably mastered over, well, mastered is probably a strong word, but cultivated over time.
Yeah. Yeah. Took me a long, long time, a lot of clients, and a lot of mistakes. Because I've done the thing that didn't work. I also remember my first coaching session, many of my first coaching sessions where I was trying to help a man and we were silent for 50 minutes because I didn't know what to say or do. I was just like on an hour call. I was like, great, I've done that too.
You seem to be someone who, I don't know if you've always been like this, but you seem to be someone who voices things that maybe other people get shameful of. And I wonder if you've always been like that, and if it's a conscious thing that you do. Because I notice, particularly for myself, you know, there's moments where I might go through something. It's hard to think of something right now, but I'm definitely aware when I make a mistake, there's shame involved. And through the work with men's work and coaching and so on, I notice the more I voice it, the lighter it becomes. I just love to hear your experience with it.
Well, that's definitely true. When you voice shame, it becomes has less impact on the body and on men. But one of the things that I've also discovered, the more I follow what I'm shamed about, more actually lean into it, the more courage and the more inspiring I am to other men and both for myself. I've done a lot of things that men would say, I'll never share this with anybody. And for me, it's just like, yeah, that was kind of fucked up and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd rather have the experience than living a life and not having to lean in and being scared of doing that. But I had to do it in a way and stand out for my family. So it's inherently also a thing. Like my brother was the successful, smart, social, everything, handsome. And then my brother was the happy, joyful. So I had nothing to give. I had nothing to show for. I had no way to receive love. And so I had to stand out. And one way to stand out is doing something that other people wouldn't want to do or do.
Mm.
And then being vocal about it.
And you were vocal from very early on.
In a way, I've also dealt with a lot of shame and regret in my life, and it has paralyzed me sometimes for more than a year because I've done something I'm really terrified of. And so it took me a long time to understand emotional regulation and how to deal with shame and how to deal with regret. That people say like, "Oh, I don't have any regrets." Like, well, you haven't lived enough then.
Mm-hmm.
You should have regrets. Like,
Yeah.
I hope you do, because then you haven't pushed yourself and leaned into places where like you haven't been free enough.
Yeah. And do you think that's the same for women as well? Or mainly just for men?
That's a great question. I think this is much more my experience as a man. I think as a man, the world is a much safer place. So I can do things that are more in the extreme version. Well, for women, the world is much more unsafe, and the consequences of this unsafe world for them is much more impactful, like especially on the nervous system and emotion. That's why in relationships, they look for safety. They have a man that's both grounded and present and 100% committed. There's a level of safety that they get to be themselves. But if there's no safety, yeah, it can be very, very traumatic.
Yeah.
So I don't always give the advice for myself that I have to women that I know.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a different life experience.
I do love to see men who really like lean into their edge. I love to see them stepping into the uncomfortable areas.
Yeah. What's one of the biggest edges and uncomfortability you've done in your life? What's the first thing that comes up?
For me?
Yeah.
I mean, really, the most recent ones are like the building projects I have over here. I came over to Bali and I had no idea what I was going to do. And I was chatting with people, with friends in Bali, and quite a few of them were investing. And I was like, I could do that. I could make that happen. And it felt very like within my body. I felt my passion and fire in there, but there was also doubt and the more critical voice, or the voice that wanted to keep me safe. Right. So that's probably the most recent biggest thing that comes to mind, I'd say.
When I talk about uncomfortability, because this is something like leaning into potential, right? Which is beautiful. There's always doubt and there's always a fear and there's always a sense of like, can I actually do this? When I look at real discomfort and real living, like I think every man, for example, has a sense of like, how gay am I? And
How
for
gay?
me, it's like how gay, for example. It's like how like there's a and I just explored that. I just explored that. Like, and I've shared my feelings with another man. It's like, hey, I think I have feelings for you, and then see where that goes. I've had sexual intimacy with a man just to see if I get turned on or not, just to explore that, and then discovering like, oh, that ain't me. But it's like that kind of level of discomfort, because oftentimes what we do as men, we keep the level of safety is like, well, if I do that, then I'm definitely gay, or then I'm going to be judged, and then whoever hears that story is never going to want to work with me, or just like never want to be my friend. And it's just like, just do the thing. Like all those case scenarios could be real, but it really doesn't matter if it means exploring yourself and who you are. one of the things that I, for example, other did was totally uncomfortable. I remember being 33. I was walking on the beach. I was super fit because I just did a professional fight and I trained for 2 months. And I was too uncomfortable taking my shirt off in public on the beach. And I realized that I was like, I don't want to ever do that again. So the week later, I went to an art studio and I said, do you have nude models? I want to be one. They said, no. It's like, well, I'm a nude model. Can we just make it happen? And they did. And from 30 people, including 20 women, some of them gorgeous, I stood there for 3 hours in a cold room with a small pecker in like 5-6 different positions and just like breathing through it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to push myself so far that the thing that I'm afraid of is just the most basic, simple thing that doesn't control me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done this so often that where I think, really growth comes from, like leaning into discomfort. And the more further you lean in, the more growth you have. And again, this is my advice to men and not women, but something I noticed for myself.
Yeah. And I also noticed, I know like different experiences, but very similar results is where when you actually face the fear, it becomes very light.
Yeah.
And it kind of fades away and you're like, oh, what else can I kind of step into? What else can I achieve?
Totally.
And I guess one question that comes up for me is like, where's the limit?
Well, yeah. Well, the limit is when you get burned out or overwhelmed. So when it's not met with the right amount of safety and support, it's one of the reasons why I've hosted Fight Club and Warrior Camp, where we actually physically attack each other and hurt each other. But it's done in such a level of safety and love that then men get to experience their own strength. So when they do get hit and they do get blown to the floor, they have, all the time and energy and processes to then get back up and decide if they want to go back again. A lot of men that come back from such a day, they realize that, the fear of getting punched in the face is way more debilitating than the actual punch in the face. And so they come home with a sense of like groundedness and purpose and, relaxation, that their woman is like, wait, what happened to you? You should go every week. And
yeah,
they get married and they have kids and they start their business from that, because fear is just an illusion in that way. It's very, very real, but still an illusion.
Yeah. With Fight Club, because I know many men that have gone to this workshop. You'd call it a workshop, right? It's a day.
Sure. Yeah.
Day workshop. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know many men that have gone and absolutely loved it and recommend it to other men. And I wonder, well, one of our friends the other day said, you get paid to beat the shit out of people. Right. And I just, what type of men come to those workshops? And what's kind of the main intentions?
Well, the men come to the workshop is the men that feel charged going there. They're actually scared of going. So whenever I invite a man, he's like, oh, I don't really want to go. I'm perfect. That's you. Time to go. The man says, okay, that sounds amazing. I'm like, it's not for you. And so the men that come, they're nervous and they're not sure what to do. And what seems to happen, because what we do is we give them emotional, mental, and physical challenges. Sometimes a combination of each. And what happens is like they realize that whatever this facade that they have, whatever mask they hold, because we as men, we tend to compete. Like it's our very nature to be stronger than the other men, whether it's in a physical sense and mental sense. And we always kind of like automatically see where we stand in terms of ranking. And so we use that like in the Fight Club. So one of the things that we do is like, okay, put your hand on the man that you think is weakest here. And so if one man then gets 6 hands on him and he's been judged as the weakest link, and I'm just asking, hey, how does it feel to have 6 hands on you? And the man usually say, well, great, now I'm the underdog. I got this. But you would think like, oh my God, he's so offended. Everybody sees him as weak, but he's actually feeling strong. And then we ask, okay, put your hand on the man who think is the strongest, without words, without thinking. And then one man gets 6 hands on them, for example. And then we ask, okay, what does this feel like? And it's like, it feels like shit. Now that I have responsibility, I have to prove myself. I don't even want to be here anymore. What you think, oh my God, you got all the recognition. And so all the underlying layers are just shown up without judgment. It's all welcome. And it allows for like, oh, we don't actually have to wear a mask, and we can challenge each other with love. You know, another thing is we set men in front of each other. It's like, what I don't like about you is, regardless if they've never met the man, there's always a thing to say, because we measure up each other.
Yeah. Very so many judgments.
And it's great to, totally, but it's great to have it out in the open, because in reality, nothing of that shit means anything. It's our own insecurities projected out. And so when that's all on the table, we get to actually just be men, fucking love each other, hold each other up, because there's nothing more to hide.
Yeah, and it will bring that element of connection, right? That deeper connection, which we're all wanting.
And we actually, the most beautiful, one of the things that I'm most proud of, like, we set the men in front of each other, and men that never met each other. It's just in the beginning of the workshop, and we give this prompt, like, how are you not showing up in life is. So one man has to tell the other man how he's not showing up in life, what he's doing wrong in life. But they don't know each other. And they just have to finish a sentence. And 9 out of 10 times, because the other man has to say, like, this is correct or not. 9 out of 10 times, they hit the nail on the fucking head. What we hide is playing in the open anyway. So we might as well just share it.
That's so interesting. Like, how, because from my experience with doing these sort of practices with men, we share a lot of insecurities, we share a lot of judgments, we share a lot of emotionality and experiences. And when we share it, with other men, we recognize we're actually more alike than what we internalize think we are. Right? Internally, I think, unless you step into this work, internally you think we're very isolated. I'm on my own here. I need to do this on my own. But then, like you're saying, like, we're voicing it, and we might be voicing it from an internal perspective, but potentially also recognizing that this man is also going through this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's so often that somebody shares something they're ashamed about, and then I ask, okay, who else relates to this? And literally every person raises their hand.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what? Yeah. I'm not the only one. And that's why one of the reasons why we think we're the only one. Like, we have shame around sharing it, and then we just lone wolf and try to go through it.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, because we're meant to live in a community.
Absolutely. And lone wolf is such a huge, and this is one reason why I really step into men's groups, because I'm like, we don't need to lone wolf it. And I was doing it, like, for all of my 20s, I was lone wolfing it. And since it was around my 30s, so at least last like 6 or 7 years, I've really lent into, I'm not doing this on my own. I'm going to, when I have a problem, or when I have something, a win, a challenge, I want to voice it to my community. I want to voice it to my friends, to my wife, or to the men's groups, regardless, because my natural instinct is like, oh, I'll just do this. Yeah, it's not that strong anymore. But when I first went into this, it was, my automatic response was like, I can deal with this on my own.
So there's a couple clients I've had, and they're like early 20s CEO entrepreneurs, making a couple mil a year, and they'll come to me for coaching. And often most of their problems, because they're lone wolfing. They run into problems, and they realize, like, oh, there's like this glass ceiling I can't go through, because life's too overwhelming and too stressed, and I don't know where to go from here. And one of my first homeworks is actually always in the first session. It's like, okay, you're going to ask people for help. You're going to request help, and you're going to ask the help that you actually need. So if you need help, like advice for an hour, get on a call and ask for a very specific thing, you're gonna have to ask that. And they'll be like, fuck, I can't do that. It's like, who are the top 3 people you're most afraid to ask?
Mm-hmm.
And who are the top 3 people you know most need help from? And it's like within a week, they have to ask all these people for their help. And like even recently, there was a man and he asked a mentor who was $10,000 an hour. And he got he asked somebody, can I have this WhatsApp? And can I message him for help? And he got his help. And they got on the call for 2 hours. This guy that's $10,000 an hour. And he got it for free. And he was like, wait, what? I just got $20,000 mentorship from this guy that makes, I don't know, a shit ton of money, knows exactly what to do. And I got the best advice that I ever needed.
Mm-hmm.
And all I had to do was ask, knowing I don't have to lone wolf this thing. I can't believe I got that. I thought I had to be 10 years in, you know?
Mm.
And it's such a revelation oftentimes.
Why do you think men do typically lone wolf it?
Well, I think one, no, there's 2 parts. The 2 biggest parts is like our dad doesn't actually help us so much growing up. Like my dad never set me down. It's like, this is how you do, and this is how you look at money, this is how you pay taxes, this is how you know, find your confidence, this is how you apply yourself. Like he never set me. And the second one, when we go to become a teenager, like our hormones get activated and we want to have sex with women, and it becomes competing because we're all trying to get the most beautiful woman. And so suddenly every friend that's ours is also an enemy. Mm-hmm. And so I can't give him my weakness, you know, proposed weakness, or I can give him can let him into my strengths. So suddenly we're competing, and it's great because it builds us to be stronger and more capable, but it just doesn't work for adult life.
So it serves a purpose in the early
100%.
In early stages, and then it's about consciously stepping into more community.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I can definitely relate to the father as well. Not really like, I mean, he, like my father, he's an engineer. He would be in his full-time job. He'd come home. He would take us swimming every morning, every evening. But there was never guidance about, okay, this is how you do the thing.
Yep. I actually, I was my dad came over to Australia a couple months ago, and I'm walking on the beach. Like, Dad, why did you never set me down? Why didn't you actually taught me anything? Like, why didn't you take the time and just say like, or even say like, hi, how are you doing? What do you need help with? Like, not once. My whole life. And he said, I was just insecure. I was working on my own stuff. I was thinking of making enough money and like doing a good enough job and stuff like that. And so I wasn't even thinking that. I wasn't even in my periphery.
It's great that you ask those sorts of questions.
What were you insecure about?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've asked him everything because I can't. I've asked him, how's his sex life? How's the sex life with my mom? How's the sex life now? How's it going? What are you doing? You know? Okay, I might as well ask anything. How do you feel about death and love, and how proud of you are of me, and why? What are you frustrated by? What would you like to have different? Now, where do you feel insecure? What do you have shame about? What are your regrets? And one of our biggest conversations in the last month, I said, what do you regret most in life right now? And he shared something. It's like, great, close your eyes. Imagine that part in front of you. That 15-year-old, because it was a 15-year-old, something that I did when I was 15. It's like, imagine that part of you. And it's like, how do you feel? It's like, oh, I just love him so much. Just love him so much. Like, great, from this place of love, if you could say and do something now to your 15-year-old, what would you do? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, so you feel all the sense of love and all the sense of compassion for your 15-year-old, and it doesn't activate doing anything or saying anything within you. And it's like, no, do you need some help? And it's like, yeah. It's like, go give him a hug. And then gave him a hug, and my dad started crying. And then I was thinking, this explains my entire childhood. My dad loved me, but I had no idea how to express it. Zero clue. And so now that he's 69 or 68, he still had no idea.
Mm.
And I just learned, give a hug, Sam, you love him. And suddenly didn't regret that thing anymore, which is really beautiful. Something I've been holding on for 53 years of regret, of hurt and pain shows up every other week and just went away. And it was so beautiful to see, but also like, man, never learned how to do these things.
And so what you were saying earlier in the episode was around like leaning into those conversations, leaning into the discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think that has played a part? Because I do believe you have I'm inspired by your relationship with your father and all the stories that you've shared with me. Like it inspires me a lot with mine. Do you think that is one element of why your relationship has got stronger? And is there any other areas that you've really lent into to make it a strong relationship?
Well, I still remember the biggest turning point with my dad's relationship with my dad. And you must understand, like my dad, I didn't even like my dad. I didn't even like having him around. When my mom died when I was 15, like he never even shared or talked about it. Like he felt like a distant person. Like he can't talk about emotions, so there's no depth. But about 7 years ago, I remember walking on the beach and I was just had a conversation with my coach. And I realized, what if the whole relationship is my doing? What if I can take 100% responsibility over how my dad is acting? And so when I do, there's zero judgment of how he reacts when I do a thing. So if he shuts down, I'm like, I created this. If he gets angry with me, it's like, I created this. And so when he doesn't feel judged, he can be himself, probably for the first time in his life, because we judge our dad. Like, I should have done this, he should have done that, he should have said this, I have all this pain because of him. I just took that all out of the equation. So for the first time in his life, he had a person he can be himself with. He felt, for the first time in his life, he felt totally seen, understood, and heard. And so it allowed space for him to open up about his shame and his regrets and his insecurities. And that allowed for an actual, honest, authentic relationship with me. One of the one of the biggest.
Go on, you go.
One of the bigger changes happened a year later, and so we started having this authentic connection where there's a lot more safety. And I remember saying, Dad, I just want to let you know, like, I hate my father. I absolutely and utterly hate who he is. But it's not you, it's the dad that hurt me. It's the dad that let me down so often. And I still have so much anger and even hate and rage against him. And he's like, okay. And I said, can we just try something? It's like, I'm going to express this rage to my father, who is no longer you. But I need to express this rage. And I'd like you to witness me expressing this rage. And he's like, and all I want you to do is listen, stay present. And when I'm done, just say thank you for sharing. That's all. We don't have to talk about it. Is that okay for you? And he says, yes. And I said, it's going to sound horrible because the things I'm about to say are going to be so incredibly mean. Just know it's not about you, but it's going to be about my father. And he says, okay. And then I just ripped it. I just said like that. The worst stuff you can say to your dad, I said it. Like, you're the most weakest fucking loser of a man. I wish you would never my dad. You're a fucking piece of shit. Like, I've said all the things. And the moment I let that all go, it's also the first time I could truly love him for who he is. And he just said, thank you, sharing. It was one of our most beautiful moments. It's a sense of freedom after that for the both of us.
Yeah. That's really beautiful to be able to have that and for you to create that space, like for you to step into that leadership and create that space. Because what I hear in there a little bit is like there's a lot of resentment that we can hold from growing up. And that resentment, and I hear this with relationships as well, like how resentment can really just destroy relationships. Because we hold things in and we tell stories in our minds and we create that reality in our mind. And kind of what I hear from what you've done, that sort of practice to a degree, there's way more levels to it, but it's like voicing all of the things that you're resentful for and just allowing it to come to the light.
Yep.
And giving very clear instructions to your father. This is what I want. And this is great for, especially for men who don't know how to, give a hug, or don't know how to have that, or how to hold space, or so on. So giving that very clear kind of framework and container, that safe container for you both to be in, is it's incredible, really. And I'm sure for people and guys listening, I hope it inspires that as well.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because that's the key part most people miss. Like the container, the way you set it up, the conversation, like that's key to resolve any kind of conflict. What I often even do in, like, when I do relationship coaching, I just set up a container for the relationship. And so, for example, I said, it's like, okay, you have 10 minutes to share whatever you feel like and however you want to, and the other person just listens. And even that alone, there's a 10-minute timer. Only one person speaks, and they can speak and say whatever they want. It's incredibly free, and the other person just listens with presence. And even we as men, we don't often get that in a relationship. Like, it's more often that the woman gets to speak and the man gets to listen. But if the man even knows, like, oh, after 10 minutes, she's going to stop talking, like, he's way more present, because sometimes it feels like an endless rant, with details that we don't understand.
Yeah.
We already lost.
I get overwhelmed when that happens.
Go. Totally.
Yeah.
But if you just said like, hey, wife, I love you so much. And I'll just let you talk for 10 minutes. How does that sound? And she says, yes, because you need a verbal agreement. You just set the timer, and she just goes on. She feels super seen and heard and understood. And you feel so much more present, because there's an ending. There's a framework you can be with. And then the other way around is even more interesting, because we as men, we don't often get to speak, especially to our women, without being interrupted. But if you don't have 10 minutes, you can literally just breathe. Like, you're not waiting for anything. And sometimes even the men, they don't talk for 5 minutes, saying nothing. And the woman has to say nothing in return. It's like, it activates a lot. But after that, there's this breath, and the woman's like, oh, I'm actually listening. And the man feels listened to in like the last 3 years that hasn't happened. And that actually creates an authentic connection.
Yeah. Silence is bliss, I find.
Yeah, we sometimes say that, but have you ever heard a woman say that?
I know, yeah. Do you think you have to like voice or release the resentment before you can take that full responsibility that you're talking about? Or can it be done like intertwined?
I mean, there's levels to it. Even take full responsibility. In the beginning I did that, but then 2 years later, I realized I wasn't taking full responsibility over everything. Just still cool, because I'm still human. I'm still emotional. I still get triggered. My dad reacts. I have a reaction, and I'm like frustrated. And it's inevitable. But the more responsibility I take and can take, it's called leadership. When I, for example, hear men complain about their woman, oh, she's not doing this, like, it's not, you have a leadership problem. Like, it's not that you didn't communicate well, or like it's like you haven't been inspiring enough. You haven't shared it in a way that actually makes her want to step up. And it's oftentimes because they're too critical, and their feedback is too harsh and too masculine, and all these things. And again, I make the same mistakes often, but not often. But I make the same mistakes still. Not perfect, but I take responsibility of being imperfect. So I apologize, and I make up for it.
Yeah. I think a lot of like a nice guy tendency is to want to be perfect.
Yeah.
And so many guys I work with, and I know, I'm sure you do the same. Like, nice guy syndrome is just it's just epidemic. It's everywhere.
Yeah,
too nice.
From an inherent fear of not being good enough.
Yeah.
So we have to compensate. So the more nice I am, the more scared of being not good enough. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I usually had that because I needed to impress.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of my previous relationship, my number one attribute that I was most proud of was patience. I was the most patient man you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what she
I was the
brought to
same.
me, no
Same.
matter how she was feeling, I was patient with it, and I was
Yeah.
fucking proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I later realized, that patience was fucking curse, because I never really spoke my truth, and because I didn't speak my truth, and so like, hey, enough is enough. She didn't look at herself like, oh, I have to learn and grow. I can be different. I should get some more therapy or coaching. This is not his stuff. And so I actually removed any opportunity for her to become a better woman, a better person.
Mm.
And so I did her a massive disservice by being patient.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I was so proud of it.
I was very same. And again, hearing these from external, oh, you're so patient, just reinforcing the story. Oh, I'm a good boy. I'm going to keep doing it, keep being patient. All
Yeah.
this, all this kind of childhood
Uh-huh.
stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
like it for me from a childhood, it was very much like a defensive mechanism. So like when there was a fight, when there was something blow up in the family, I would just step back and just be silent and just pretty much it was dissociation, I just kind of shut down, but everyone perceives me as like, oh, he's patient, but it's not. It's for me, it's literally I'm clocked out because I'm scared of feeling I don't feel safe here. So yeah, very similarly, like I had to lean into like patience is good, but then there's points where it's like feeling the anger when the boundaries are overstepped. And that was what I was suppressing is very much the anger aspect. And
I remember
yeah.
such a big change in my relationship. So I was used to have this patience. I wanted to change it. And then my woman came to me. So she's so upset about something. And instead of being patient and listening to her, I got upset equally about the same thing.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
instead of like taking
Matching the
personal,
emotion.
make it about us, we just matched the emotion. I was angry with her about the thing. And so suddenly, in like a second, she felt heard, seen, and understood. And we were a team. And so the whole thing that she came to me through, it usually would take hours to resolve, was resolved in a matter of 30 seconds.
Mm.
I was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. We're coming to the end of the episode. I want to touch on just quickly around polarity. And like we've spoke about men stepping into their edge. And I've seen with men who are kind of avoiding life and not stepping into their edge, their relationships are also paying the price. And it's quite like a flat line, it's dying. There's no conflict there. There's no intimacy there. And honestly, it looks boring. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it and kind of why it happens and also how you can reclaim that dynamic and clarity in the relationship.
Yeah, it's quite sad.
Mm-hmm.
Because I see really good people. I often, when I do relationship coaching, I see two people with a good heart, one to their best, but they don't feel attracted to each other because the polarity is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And the source is oftentimes that the man tries his best, but not really. And then the woman then tries to help, but he becomes kind of like his mom. And then he starts leaning on that. And then before they know it, like he doesn't have his balls anymore. And she doesn't feel grounded anymore. So she's leading the relationship. And what I then often say is like, let him fall, let him get punched in the face, because in that way he's going to learn and see that he can actually has a backbone and a spine and a thing. Like let him, if he pays his own rent, let him not be able to pay his rent if that means something. Because the moments in my life when I got bankrupt or couldn't pay my rent or broke my nose is where I got to learn the most about myself And that's why I have a lot of self-trust, because I made all the dumb mistakes. But if a woman or my relationship prevented me from those dumb mistakes, I would have been stuck. But I also let them, because I want to be comforted by mom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just sad. Like, your woman's not your mom. So don't treat her as that way. Don't be her, listen, she's not your cushion. It's okay to once in a while cry with her and be hugged and share your vulnerabilities. And that's amazing. But don't lean on it. Don't make it your, what's it called? Make your, fuck, I forgot the name, but it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, a woman takes a step back of caretaking the man. Let the man fall and make his own mistakes. That
Yeah.
usually works well. But it's also like, what is your purpose? Like, what do you fear of doing? What have you always wanted to do? Step into that. And when they usually do, the woman is like, wait, who is he? Where did he come from? I like him. And I remember coaching a couple this like 4 or 5 years ago, and they had the similar problem. And I was talking to him, and he was a coder, an engineer. And I said, you know what you should do? You should ask for a raise. And he's like, oh, I just got this job, and they're already paying me so well. It's just like, ask for the raise. And so he just like, it's not about getting the attachment of getting a raise. We're just asking, having the balls to do something you're uncomfortable with. So he went to his boss and it's like, I want a raise. And he got his raise. It's like 20% more of his thing. He was so happy. He came to me and it's like, oh my God, Jan, I can't believe it. My woman is so proud of me. It's like, great. Next month, put it in your calendar to ask for a raise. And he's like, what the fuck? What? Why am I doing this? It's like, yeah, this is your edge. You got to find your edge. You got to find your growth. This is where you become a man. And he did. And he got a raise again. And then he stepped into this role of like, oh, I'm somebody who earns more than I deserve, so I better fucking make up for it. And so he started working harder and taking more leadership in his life. And we did this with other factors as well in his life. It's like, oh, I don't know what restaurants to pick. Okay, for the next week, for the next 2 months, you're going to pick a new restaurant every week to take your woman to. And you're going to ask her if you picked the right restaurant or not. It's like, oh my God, I've always been bad at this. No, you've made yourself believe that you've always been bad at this, but leadership is doing the thing you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
So lean in. How would you want to fuck your wife if you get to fuck her the way you want to? Do that tonight. And it's a whole different experience. And apparently she likes it. She likes it more than she's ever made.
Yes. That's the sexual shame and all that sort of topic.
It's like sweet, casual. Oh my God. Yeah, go on, sorry.
No, I was going to say this, the sexual shame aspect. Maybe I can get you on again because we can go deep into that. We don't have enough time to delve into that area today. But it's a huge area that I've found a lot of.
But that's expression.
Yeah.
It's the most natural expression of man. This is who you fucking are. Own it. And stop fucking outsourcing it to porn or Instagram models. Like, bring it to your woman. If you struggle that she doesn't want to open up to you and only want to make love twice a month, it's because you haven't found your cock yet. Get erect, get hard, start fucking her properly the way you want to. And instead she's like knocking on your door when you're working.
Nice. Okay. No, we're going to finish on just two areas. So the first one is about nervous system regulation. You've mentioned it a few times. What are the key practices that you've done that have really helped you to regulate your nervous system?
Oh, that is a long answer. But I think the most important one is to just check up how your nervous system actually works. And one of the ways is you close your eyes, you take a deep breath, and you give yourself a number 1 to 10, how anxious you are. So it could be a 7, and you like, oh, what does a 7 out of 10 feel like in my body? It's like, oh, my belly's tense, my heart is heavy, my shoulders are a little down. And then, okay, when one of those things get triggered, it's when this person said this, or at work this happened, and those are the triggers that fuck up your nervous system, that keeps getting it high. And so when you work on those triggers, the 7 drops to a 6 and a 5 and a 4 and a 3 and a 2. And suddenly you notice like, oh, most of your life you're at a 3 or 2. no matter what happens. But I've been shot at, and my nervous system's chill.
Mm.
You know, I had a guy in front of me wanted to kill me, and he was capable because he was a fighter, and I was like breathing as relaxed as possible because I've done so much nervous system work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to handle whatever situation is in front of me.
Great. And the last question, and I ask this for all my guests now, is what is it to be a man for you?
Taking 100% responsibility over area of life. How you feel, what's happening externally, internally, and then with the utmost love and compassion for yourself at the same time.
Mm. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Jan Williem. It's been great chatting with you. I've really enjoyed this conversation. And I'd love to get you back on to go deeper into all the areas. I think there's so much more to go to.
That's good.
Thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you next time. Keep working on it.